Scorpio, something sacred, something heavy, and something incredibly powerful is happening this September. A divine justice is falling hard, money is being released, and an old part of you is being buried for good. You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. If you're here watching, listening, and feeling something stir within your chest, then hear me clearly. This is your divine appointment. The universe has been waiting for you to show up. And now that you have, the message will meet you exactly where you are. Do you feel it, Scorpio? A silent shift in your energy lately? Restless nights that seem to whisper your name? Dreams that bring back people long gone? A heavy weight you can't quite explain, and yet, deep inside, you know it's the end of something. And the beginning of everything. Let me ask you something personal. Have you recently felt like someone or something from your past is reaching back, trying to hold you where you no longer belong? Or maybe you've sensed that life has been trying to tell you something, but it's coming through in signs, symbols, dreams, numbers, or even chills down your spine. If so, take a deep breath with me right now, Scorpio. Close your eyes for just a moment, and allow yourself to believe this. What's unfolding in your life isn't chaos, it's sacred alignment. The tarot has already spoken, and the first word is clear: death. Not the kind that brings fear. The kind that brings freedom. The kind that liberates your soul from old contracts, past pain, and burdens you were never meant to carry in the first place. There is a symbolic burial happening now, a farewell to an identity, a story, or even a relationship that wants to find you but can no longer follow you into what God and the universe are preparing for you next. In this space, right here and now, we hold sacred ground. I want you to know this channel, Miracle of the Sign, isn't here to give you surface-level horoscopes. What you're stepping into is a soul-aligned message, a spiritual reading grounded in astrology, informed by tarot, and guided by faith. Here, we don't just talk about signs. We talk about why the signs were sent to you. So before we go any further, let me take a moment to thank you deeply, not just for clicking this video, but for showing up for your healing. Every like, every comment, every subscription brings you deeper into the heart of this spiritual family. I see you. I feel your presence. And I honor your journey. Now, I ask you with sincerity, if you felt the calling of this message already, leave a comment below to affirm it. Even just a single sentence, tell me what part of your spirit knows this message was meant for you. Doing so not only grounds your energy into this moment but also signals the universe that you're ready for what's coming. And believe me when I say, Scorpio, you will want to stay with me through every second of this video. What's being revealed in the cards and in the spiritual realm is extraordinary. It's raw. It's real. It's a cosmic reckoning. And it holds the keys to your next chapter, one filled with financial restoration, emotional freedom, and long-awaited truth. So, inhale deeply. Center yourself. Something ancient, beautiful, and undeniable is unfolding. Let us begin. The Death card has emerged. But this time, death does not arrive to frighten you, it comes to liberate you. Scorpio, you, more than any other sign, understand the depth of transformation. Yours is the sign ruled by Pluto, the planet of endings, of alchemical rebirth, of shadows that eventually become light. And so when this card rises in your reading, it does not point to tragedy, it signals an invitation. It opens a sacred doorway to a deeper release, a shedding of skin you have long outgrown. This is not about losing something. It is about burying what has already been spiritually dead within you for far too long. You know what I'm speaking of. That version of you that held back your voice so others wouldn't feel small. The one who kept giving love that wasn't returned. The one who carried guilt that never belonged to you in the first place. That version has suffered long enough. And now, September offers the chance to lay that identity to rest, not in bitterness, but in peace. There is something hauntingly beautiful about a symbolic burial. It's not loud. It doesn't demand a funeral procession. It often happens in silence, a deep breath you take while alone in your room, a message you finally stop waiting for, a goodbye you whisper into your pillow without needing a reply. These are the quiet rituals of letting go. And they are powerful. Think of a garden, overrun with weeds from seasons you forgot to clear. That garden is your soul, and this moment is your rake, your shovel, your hand in the soil. You are not destroying what was. You are making room for what could be. And just like Jesus said in the book of John, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. There is divine purpose in surrender. When I tune into your energy, I sense that you have carried something sacred but heavy, a memory, a relationship, a responsibility far past its expiration. Not because you're weak, but because you're loyal. Not because you didn't know better, but because your love is deep. And that is your gift. But love, real love, does not require you to shrink, to suffer, to settle. The soul does not grow in a coffin of expectations it never chose. This chapter is not about loss. It is about reclaiming space within your spirit. When you release what no longer belongs, the universe fills that vacuum with truth, with clarity, with joy. But first, you must say yes to the letting go. And I wonder, Scorpio, what is it that you are finally ready to lay to rest this September? Is it an outdated self-image that says you are not enough? Is it a friendship that turned into a cage? A dream you once chased that now only hurts to hold? Take a breath. Be honest. And if it helps you anchor your intention, write it in the comments below. Just one sentence. Let this be your symbolic stone, placed at the grave of something you no longer wish to carry. Your words have power. And your willingness to release, that is your resurrection. There is strength in surrender, just as there is peace after mourning. And you, Scorpio, are not here to repeat the same cycle. You are here to rise lighter, freer, more aligned with your truth than ever before. Let the past bury itself. Your future is ready to bloom. When we speak of justice in the language of the stars, we are not referring to courtroom verdicts or worldly punishment. We are speaking of alignment, of the universe returning to balance what was tilted, of restoring harmony where there was once distortion. Scorpio, in the weeks leading into September, you may have felt the quiet rumblings of this energetic rebalancing. Perhaps it came as a whisper that you had been too patient with someone who never honored your loyalty. Or maybe it arrived in waves, a sense of old situations rising from the deep, not to hurt you again, but to finally find their rightful resolution. The Justice card arrives not to punish others, but to awaken you. It is a mirror, not a weapon. And this month, that mirror is being held up to the people and situations in your life that once disempowered you. Energetically, we're entering a cycle where truth can no longer remain hidden. What was done in secret is being pulled into the light, not for spectacle, but for settlement. This is the deeper meaning behind divine justice. It is not about revenge. It is about return. In astrology, we often look to Saturn when justice themes arise. Saturn, the great taskmaster, teaches through accountability. And in this season, Scorpio, Saturn is asking, what have you carried that was never yours? What price have you paid for someone else's deceit, someone else's silence, someone else's refusal to grow? Now, those debts are being recalculated, and not in the spiritual background, but in ways that you can feel, touch, and even deposit into your bank account. You may receive news about something long delayed, a legal matter, a financial dispute, or even a conversation you thought would never happen. And while it may feel sudden, understand this: it is not random. The wheel of fortune is also in motion, spinning back toward your favor. This isn't luck. It's the long-awaited response to every time you remained silent while others twisted the truth. Every time you forgave what was never acknowledged. Every time you gave more than you received. The scales are being adjusted not out of anger, but from a higher intelligence that knows exactly what belongs to you. There is also an internal justice unfolding. Your perception is sharpening. You may find yourself clearly seeing people for who they really are, not with bitterness, but with clarity. And this clarity is power. You are no longer vulnerable to manipulation disguised as charm, nor guilt wrapped in false obligation. Your intuition is no longer something to doubt. It is your compass now. This season, allow yourself to reclaim what was taken, whether that be your voice, your boundaries, or your vision for your future. And if you've been the one holding on to shame for simply trusting the wrong people, I invite you to release it now. Let it fall away like autumn leaves no longer needed by the tree. Growth is not a betrayal of your past. It is proof that your spirit refuses to stay small. So I ask you, Scorpio, has someone ever taken advantage of your kindness? Have you ever been manipulated out of something that was rightfully yours? If the answer is yes, then you are not alone. And I invite you now to type the number 444 in the comments below. Not just as a symbol of angelic protection, but as a personal declaration, that you are ready to receive what is due, and you are willing to stand in the full value of your being. This month, justice is not something you chase. It is something that returns to you, through you, for you. Let it. When something finally begins to flow after being blocked for so long, the release can feel overwhelming. For Scorpio, this moment has arrived. The Ace of Pentacles appears not just as a sign of material gain, but as a divine nod that the resources you were once denied are now finding their way back to you. But here's the truth: this is not just about money. It's about energetic realignment. The finances, contracts, and opportunities that felt delayed were not being withheld to punish you. They were simply waiting for the right version of you to be ready to receive them with wisdom. Astrologically, Jupiter's current movement is significant. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, fortune, and divine timing, is casting its benevolent influence on Scorpio in subtle but powerful ways this month. This is not just a random uptick in cash flow or business potential. It's a cosmic acceleration. Things you planted long ago, seeds of effort, silent sacrifices, and good intentions, are now sprouting in places you least expect. A job offer you thought had passed you by, a creative idea you once gave up on, a loan finally being approved, or even a small gesture of support that turns into a life-changing opportunity. These are not accidents. They are proof that the energetic dam has broken. But the most important question is not, when will it come? It's, what will you do when it does? Because wealth, whether material or energetic, is never neutral. It amplifies the state of the receiver. This is why self-awareness becomes your greatest currency. When money arrives, it will ask you, are you grounded? Are you clear? Will you build or will you bleed? In the world of self-help and emotional healing, sudden abundance often activates old wounds. For those who have lived in survival mode, the arrival of money can trigger fear, guilt, or impulsivity. You might feel the urge to spend quickly, to prove your worth, or to overgive. But this is not the time to outsource your value. This is the time to honor the effort it took to get here, and to treat your finances as an extension of your self-worth. Instead of reacting from scarcity, I invite you to respond from clarity. Begin with small, conscious decisions. Invest in something that nourishes your body, your mind, or your space. Don't rush to fix everything. Allow yourself to breathe in the blessing. Understand that money is not just paper or digits, it is energy made visible. It is the universe's way of saying, you are trusted. Let this season be the one where you learn to hold what is good without fear it will be taken. Let this be the season where you no longer apologize for wanting more, or feel guilty for finally having it. Remember, there is no virtue in struggle for struggle's sake. You are allowed to be provided for. You are allowed to have ease. And you are allowed to use your resources to build something that reflects the truth of who you are now. If you've sensed this shift in your own life, if doors are cracking open and unexpected income is showing up, pause for a moment and ground this energy. Speak it aloud. Write it in the comments, I am ready to receive my abundant destiny. By claiming it, you align your actions with the vibration of trust. This chapter of your life is not about chasing, it's about receiving. But receiving with grace, with discipline, with vision. You are not the same person who once struggled in silence. You have grown, and now, so will everything around you. Let the abundance come not just as money, but as the reflection of your rising worth. There are moments when the soul speaks louder than the mind, when the body holds what the words cannot say. And for Scorpio, this season is one of those sacred thresholds when what has been buried deep within finally rises, not to haunt you, but to be healed. You may have noticed it already. A dream that lingered longer than usual. A smell from the past that appeared out of nowhere. A sudden wave of emotion you couldn't explain. These are not coincidences. They are signals. Messages from your inner world or from the invisible hands that have always watched over you, reminding you it's time to feel what you've been avoiding. In emotional healing, we often think of progress as movement forward. But real healing often starts with a return, a circling back to the ache we tried to outrun. Scorpio, you're not meant to suppress your pain to prove your strength. You're here to witness it, to honor it, and then when the time is right to release it. You may feel raw, vulnerable, even confused by the intensity of what's surfacing. But please understand, this is not regression. This is renewal. Our memories are layered. Some live in our bones. Others wait silently until the soul is safe enough to face them. If you felt tears come without a clear reason, know that those tears are evidence that your inner safety has finally been established. Your heart trusts you again. Let it cry. Let it break. Because in that breaking, something stronger is forming, not a shield, but a sanctuary. From a spiritual perspective, this is the energy of emotional alchemy. You are not meant to carry unprocessed pain. And according to the law of attraction, what is unexpressed becomes blocked. Blocked energy pushes away the very things you're trying to call in: love, abundance, peace. That's why this moment, as uncomfortable as it may feel, is actually your opening. Your soul is preparing to become a vessel for something greater, but only if it is emptied of what no longer serves. Let yourself feel it all. Cry beneath the stars. Walk barefoot on the earth. Journal until the words surprise you. Place your hand on your heart and simply say, "I'm listening." These small rituals aren't insignificant, they are powerful acts of reclamation. You are clearing space not just for joy, but for clarity, for self-trust, for alignment. And in doing so, you send a signal to the universe that you are no longer hiding from your truth. There's a quiet line in scripture that offers comfort during seasons like this. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. You don't have to believe in a specific doctrine to understand the essence here. It's simple: those who allow themselves to feel will find peace. Those who grieve will be held. And those who dare to break will be rebuilt stronger than before. So I ask you gently, have you found yourself dreaming of someone who's passed on? Have you wept without understanding why? Have you caught a scent, seen a feather, or felt a presence you couldn't name? If so, you're not alone. These are signs that healing is already in motion. And if you feel called to share, I invite you to leave a comment. Say who or what has been visiting your heart this month. Let this be your act of release, not for anyone else, but for your own soul's unfolding. Scorpio, you are not breaking down. You are breaking open. And what comes next is clarity, softness, and a kind of inner freedom you've never known before. Let it come. Let it cleanse. Let it carry you forward. After the storm of release, after the quiet sobs and the invisible hands guiding your surrender, something sacred begins to stir. Scorpio, this is where your rebirth takes root, not in chaos, but in calm. Not in proving yourself, but in being yourself. The cards now speak of a new vibration rising in your life. The Sun. The Nine of Cups. The Empress. A triad of healing light, wish fulfillment, and divine creation. It's no coincidence these appear after your symbolic burial. You've done the shedding. Now you are stepping into the rising. The sun is not just warmth after the cold. It is clarity after confusion. It is the golden illumination of purpose, of joy that doesn't need validation, and of relationships that nourish instead of drain. The Nine of Cups whispers of desires once whispered in the dark, and how, now, the universe is finally responding. This is the month where quiet prayers become loud manifestations. Where longings that once felt too tender to say aloud now bloom in full color. You may receive something you've long wanted: love, recognition, stability, opportunity, and it may come in a form more perfect than what you imagined. The Empress confirms this isn't just luck. It's embodiment. You are becoming fertile ground emotionally, creatively, energetically. For some, this may look like launching a new project, reconnecting with a healed partner, or even conceiving a child or a dream long thought lost. Your aura expands now. Your energy draws in blessings like a magnet, not because you are chasing them, but because you have become aligned with them. But just as any new kingdom requires sacred stewardship, your rebirth also requires daily devotion. That's why this month, small rituals will carry immense power. Start your morning with 11 minutes of silence, not to empty your mind, but to tune in. Sip chamomile tea not just for sleep, but as a signal to your body that peace is your new baseline. Let your body rest. Let your nervous system unwind. The healing you've called in needs a soft place to land. In the language of colors and numerology, September carries specific codes just for you. Burgundy red helps you transform lingering emotional debris into passionate clarity. Gold invites financial confidence, helping you feel worthy of the abundance pouring in. Silver white is a bridge connecting you to your higher self, enhancing your intuition, and clearing your path for spiritual insight. And pay attention to the angel numbers. 999 signifies the final chapter truly closing. 888 pulses with financial flow and karmic return. 444 is your assurance that what's happening now is being divinely orchestrated, even if you don't yet see all the pieces. The energy peaks around 3 key dates, September 9th, 13th, and 22nd. These are not just days, they are gateways. Write your intentions down. Speak them aloud. Let the universe know, without apology, what you are ready to receive and how you are willing to grow to hold it. These are sacred appointments with your destiny. So I ask you, Scorpio, what number calls to you this month? What frequency feels like your personal key? Is it the closure of 999, the abundance of 888, or the protection of 444? Share it below in the comments. That small act becomes a cosmic signature, an imprint of your readiness. You are no longer rising from ashes. You are building your own throne. This isn't just a chapter. It's a new era. Your energy is no longer centered on surviving, it is calibrated for thriving. Welcome to your personal renaissance, Scorpio. May you lead with softness, receive with power, and create with love. Scorpio, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause for just a breath and recognize how far you've traveled, not just in this reading, but in your life. From symbolic burials to divine justice, from sudden abundance to emotional release, and finally into full rebirth, you have walked through a sacred map of transformation. And it's not a fantasy. It's not an abstract metaphor. It's real. It's happening. And it's yours. You are no longer the person who only survives. You are the one who reclaims. The one who transforms silence into wisdom, pain into power, and the unknown into light. A new kingdom has risen within you, and its foundation is not control, but clarity. Not fear, but faith. You've not just healed for yourself, you've healed for those who came before you, and those who will come after. There's a quiet strength in that, Scorpio, and I hope you can feel it blooming in your chest right now. This month, everything you've been through, the cycles of loss, the whispers of justice, the breakthroughs in your heart and your wallet, they weren't just life events. They were alignments. Sacred appointments. Gentle nudges from the universe saying, now. Now is the time to rise. But healing is not passive. And transformation doesn't happen without your participation. That's why I want to gently ask you, what part of you are you ready to release so you can truly reign? What truth will you finally speak, not to hurt anyone, but to honor yourself? What new version of you is waiting to be welcomed in, if only you open the door? Your comment might be the first step. So I invite you, if it resonates, to write below, "I accept divine justice. I am ready to receive both peace and prosperity." That affirmation's simple, powerful, clear is not just words on a screen. It's a signature. A claim. A declaration that you believe in what's unfolding and you're ready to step into it fully. And if this reading touched your heart, I lovingly ask you to like this video, subscribe to Miracle of the Sign, and share it with another Scorpio who might be waiting for a sign they didn't know they needed. You never know how one whisper of hope can change someone's entire day or destiny. You are not just healing. You are leading. Not just living, but embodying a new vibration that the world desperately needs. Scorpio, your time of quiet endurance is over. Your era of divine expression has begun. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me to walk with you. And thank you truly for allowing Miracle of the Sign to be part of your sacred unfolding. Now tell me, what number 444, 888, or 999 feels like your soul's message this month? What colors are calling to you lately? And what is the one desire you're finally ready to believe you deserve? Let's turn the comments section into sacred ground. Until we meet again, stay open, stay brave, and stay beautifully, undeniably you.